Good evening. Thanks for joining us. We start tonight with breaking news: an active situation at Fox River Mall in Appleton. Jason Zimmerman and Emily Matesic are standing by. Jason, you were there first. Let's head to you. What do you know at this time, Jason?
Brittany, we are still actively working right now to gather details here at the scene. What we have been able to confirm is that there was a shooting at the Fox River Mall. We don't know exactly how many people were shot, but witnesses tell me it did happen somewhere in the vicinity of the food court area. You can see the scene right behind me here, a number of police cars. Too many for me to actively count at the moment, but I have seen just about every agency out here from the Fox Valley. A short time ago, about 20 minutes ago, we did see a large number of people come from the food court area. I'd say about 50 people that were walked out of the food court area and over to Bob's Furniture, where they were reunited with loved ones and told that they could leave from that point. But you'll see a lot of cars out here in the parking lot at the moment of likely people that are still inside the mall, possibly barricaded or taking cover. We do know this is an active scene, and the entire mall area right now is surrounded by police. They're not letting anybody in or out at this time. They're telling people to kind of stay away. And I did speak to a number of people who were in the food court as this situation unfolded this afternoon. I asked them what they heard, what they saw, and we're going to play a little bit of that right now.
Help a bunch of my customers and I were in the my employees were in the back. All of a sudden we heard gunshots and everybody scrambling in the mall asking what's happening, and everybody was telling me that there was a shooting. Anybody who was in the food court by Rockies, I immediately told them to jump my counter, get into the bathroom, lock the door. There's people with families too.
Was it scary? I mean, did you hear
it? It was scary. I heard the gunshots. Like, this is the first time I've ever heard gunshots literally in a mall. I've been working here since August. This is all a shock to me. I'm still shaking terribly. I'm lucky.
Any idea where they came from or where the shooting was?
I have no idea where the shooting came from. All of a sudden I heard gunshots, and the first thing that came to my mind was the safety of my coworkers and the customers in the food court.
We were at GNC, and then we saw people running. It was kind of like nail, like when you hammer a nail. And then obviously we booked it in back too.
Everything just got silent when then they shut all the cages real quick. We jumped in the back room, sat down, got secure.
It all happened pretty quick, so yeah.
Definitely something.
Yeah. So were you scared? Were people panicking? What was the scene like?
Definitely panic, but I also had that moment where it's do I move? What do I do? You have that really quick instant thing where it's stay or run. Even though you know you're supposed to run, but it's just your mind doesn't acknowledge what the first answer should be.
You just
right on that time.
Freeze up.
Yeah.
You freeze up. You know you should do something, but you can't.
About what happened in this shooting this afternoon that occurred just a short time ago. Exactly how many people were shot, we're still trying to find out. We're still trying to find out who did this shooting and what the motive may have been. Police are standing by. We hope to find out more information soon, but again, they're asking people to just kind of stay away from the area as they continue to do their due diligence, and the investigation out here basically continues. Brittany.
Thanks, Jason. Emily Matesic is also on scene. She's been trying to get a hold of officials all afternoon. Emily, what have you heard and what are you seeing?
Yeah, and Brittany, as Jason said, very fluid situation, very active situation. I'm now across the street, across Casa Loma, as you can see behind me. State Patrol, local police, sheriff's office. They all have the entrances to the mall blocked off. I can tell you when I was getting off the highway on Wisconsin Avenue, there was a car pulled off to the side of the road and people were crossing over the median to get into a car. I'm assuming those are people, they had shopping bags in their hand. Like to think those are people who were in the mall and getting out of the area after this shooting happened. As you said, been working the phones all afternoon into this evening, was able to share a couple of text messages with some local law enforcement, and the initial reports that they were getting that there were 2 people that were shot. We were hearing 1 critical, 1 not critical. Again, haven't gotten that confirmed yet from anybody else, but law enforcement earlier in the day, that's what they were telling me. We're expecting a briefing at some point. We were told that the staging area for the media was at the Ross Dress for Less, which is across Casa Loma from the mall area. We're in that area now. Hopefully we'll be hearing from some sort of law enforcement sources in the near future to get exactly more detail on what happened out here. For now, we're live in Grand Chute. Emily Matesic, Action 2 News.
Good evening. Thanks for joining us. We continue tonight with the breaking news we first told you about this afternoon. A deadly shooting at the Fox River Mall in Grand Chute. One person is dead, another injured. The suspect is still on the loose. Jason Zimmerman and Joshua Bagera among the first on the scene for us. Let's head over to Joshua first. Where do police stand on the investigation?
Brittany, right now it's a less active scene than it was earlier. There are a few officers that are still in the back, but where it currently stands that police are still looking for the suspected shooter in this deadly incident.
Grand Chute police confirmed 2 people were shot at Fox River Mall, one dying from their injuries.
We've identified several witnesses who observed the incident. Those individuals are currently speaking with investigators. Again, we ask anybody with any information about the incident to please contact the Grand Chute Police Department.
This all began at around 3:30 Sunday afternoon when officers responded to a shooting at the mall. People inside were asked to shelter in place. A witness sent us this video of what appears to be a person with a gunshot wound. In 2 briefings held by police, a motive nor a shooter was identified.
Investigators are actively following up on leads and possible suspect information. We will provide any suspect information as soon as we can.
The other person who was shot only suffered minor injuries.
Again, police are asking if you have any information to call them at 920-832-1575. Again, 920-832-1575. And they're expecting to release the identity of that victim sometime tomorrow. Reporting live in Grand Chute, Joshua Figueroa, Action 2 News.
Thanks, Joshua. Now over to Jason Zimmerman, who was able to talk to shoppers as they are rushing out of the mall. Jason.
That's right, Brittany. Still a small police presence outside the Fox River Mall tonight, especially in the area of the food court. And that's where a number of witnesses told us they heard those shots being fired this afternoon. We were among the first on the scene, and when we got here, I was able to catch up with some people who were fleeing the area, visibly shaken. It was a chaotic scene with police surrounding the Fox River Mall after witnesses tell us someone fired gunshots, striking 2 people and causing an immediate panic. Lily Jones was working at the time.
All of a sudden we heard gunshots and everybody scrambling in the mall asking what's happening, and everybody was telling me that there's a shooting. Anybody who was in the food court by Rockies, I immediately told them to jump my counter, get into the bathroom, lock the door.
Others inside the mall did the same thing. Many stayed in lockdown or sheltered in place until police gave the all clear. Our cameras caught this big crowd coming out a short time after the shooting, and some even had their hands up in the air.
We were at GNC and then we saw people running. It was like kind of like nail, like when you hammer a nail. And then obviously we booked it in back too.
Everything just got silent when then they shut all the cages real quick. We jumped in the back room, sat down, got secure.
During the incident, police blocked off the mall at every exit and kept traffic away. Tristan Davison says it was tough to anticipate how to react.
You freeze up. You know you should do something, but you can't.
This is the first time I've ever heard gunshots literally in a mall. I've been working here since August. This is all a shock to me. I'm still shaking terribly. I'm lucky.
And the response to this incident was just overwhelming. At one point, there were more police officers out here in the mall parking lot than I could count, including a SWAT unit. Just about every agency in the Fox Valley was out here this afternoon. Reporting live in Grand Chute, Jason Zimmerman, Action 2 News.
And we start with a first alert update. Grand Chute police say they want to talk to this person, 17-year-old Desmond Ellis, in connection with the deadly shooting at the Fox River Mall. Officers say he could be armed. You should call police right away if you know where he is.
Ellis might be in a blue Dodge Avenger, similar to the one you're seeing on your screen right now. It would have Wisconsin license plates AHP 7939. The shooting happening about 3:30 Sunday afternoon in the Fox River Mall's main corridor.
When you hear a gunshot inside of a building like that, it's loud.
It was scary. I heard the gunshots.
There was a bunch of people, like another huge wave, and a bunch of people yelling, they're shooting. And that's when it really hit us.
And police haven't said why they think the shooting happened or why they want to talk to Desmond Ellis.
Police say the shooting, though, was targeted, they believe, but officers have not said if Ellis and the victims actually knew each other.
Overnight, Grand Chute police released the name of the victim who died, 19-year-old Giovanni Frausto. A second person was treated for minor injuries and released from the hospital overnight.
Just getting some major developments in the last hour in connection to that deadly shooting at Grand Chute's Fox River Mall. Police turning their attention to 20th Avenue in Oshkosh this morning, where a blue Avenger car they had been looking for was found parked in the driveway. That's where Emily Matesic joining us now live with an update from the scene.
Yeah, Kevin, police tell us it was a citizen's tip that led them to this location here on 20th Avenue. I'm going to step out of the way, and you can see that that blue car that is connected to Desmond Ellis is parked here in the driveway at a duplex on 20th Avenue. Now, I know we do have some video we can roll. Within the last half hour, when we were here, 4 people were pulled out of the house in handcuffs. It appears that it was 3 women and a younger male. I can tell you that 2 of the women were screaming as they were being pulled out of the house. Now, none of the people were the suspect or the man that they're looking for to talk with about that shooting. The 19-year-old still out there. Police continue to look for him. We did talk with Oshkosh police briefly about the 4 people that they pulled out of this house.
Officers were inside of the residence completing an investigation. 4 individuals became physically combative with officers and were taken into custody. We are still looking, well, the Grand Chute is still looking for the suspect, Desmond Ellis. He is a suspect in the homicide that occurred last night in Grand Chute. We want to remind people that he is still considered armed and dangerous.
Obviously a very fluid situation, lots of moving parts. This started in Grand Chute last night. The latest on the investigation is here in Oshkosh. And speaking with Oshkosh police, we asked them what the process was from here. They said that was really up to Grand Chute. We don't know if they're going to come and tow this car away. We don't know the status of the 4 people that they did pull out of this home in handcuffs. But again, police are still looking for that suspect, Desmond Ellis. He is considered armed and dangerous. If you see him, you are asked to immediately call police. For now, we're live in Oshkosh. Emily Matesic, Action 2 News.
Based on what you know about these types of searches, what do you think is happening now?
Law enforcement officer across northeast Wisconsin is on the lookout for this guy right now. They don't know exactly, at least they're not telling us, where he might be. And that's really the key, is they are looking everywhere for him. They have that car, as Emily was just talking about, there located now. So then the question becomes, what's his mode of transportation? Is he mobile? Is he going anywhere? Could he be with someone else? So you can bet that they're going through every possible connection, contact that they can find, tracking down family, friends, anyone in the area, trying to check and see if he might be with them, or, you know, does he have any other acquaintances that might be outside of Oshkosh or Appleton? I mean, that's where all the eyes are right now, but that doesn't mean that's where he is. He could be anywhere, really. And so the investigation is very broad right now. And really, I mean, when I talked with law enforcement up here in Brown County today, they're saying, you know, we keep an eye out for him too. It's just something that they're doing. Everybody kind of on the lookout for him right now.
So, Emily, multiple agencies, like Sarah talked about, you knew that already. We saw that yesterday. What about state resources? When do they become involved if they aren't already?
Yeah, well, they were last night. State Patrol was out here helping out. We know that the DOJ, Division of Criminal Investigations, we call them the DCI investigators, they were out here. They're involved. Grand Chute Police told us that federal investigators were involved. And I know Sarah kind of touched on how they're, you know, reaching out to all of the contacts of Desmond Ellis to try to find him. But I should say that, you know, thinking about it as the day has been going on, where that car was found was directly across the street from a Quick Trip. So I'm assuming, one would assume that the police have gone into that Quick Trip, have asked for their surveillance camera, their security video to see what happened once that car pulled in the driveway, who got out of it and where did they go. So really lots of eyes in different entities all across northeast Wisconsin, the state, and even federally are looking for him.
And Emily, that brings up another good point too. When you're talking about those cameras across the street at Quick Trip, they're looking at cameras and video from all over the place. You're talking about an incident happening inside a mall where there are hundreds of people, and who doesn't have a cell phone out right now? You're running obviously for cover, but you can guarantee there are people with video and pictures and things like that. They're going to be going through all of that as well, looking for information. Where did he go? You know, who might have been with him, if that's at all possible, if there was anyone else. You know, just looking, you know, what did people do, things like that. And then you're talking about that video, you know, cameras out in the neighborhood of Quick Trip. A lot of people have, you know, Ring doorbells or Nest cameras, things like that. They're going to be looking at those kind of things too,